Hey everybody, welcome back to our Stoneface Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here watching some Fate Zero. We got some comments here today, but first let's remember to go ahead and thank 70Q for sponsoring this on the Patreon. If you want to go ahead and join us on the Patreon, just $5 a month, but no pressure, it's all sports channel, just a little bit extra.
Way to put the chill right in there with the thank you.
Hell yeah, that's how I roll. So, we got a couple comments here. First from Vid from the episode Blade of the Demonic Spear, who says, I'm surprised you knew about Enkindu. That's good general knowledge. Hey, thanks. About the divinity thing, Iskander has C-rank divinity because he was somewhat regarded as a god by his followers, so he has very low divinity attribute, despite having no relation to any of the gods. Gilgamesh should have pretty much the highest divinity you can have, since he's 2 out of 3 a god, but
You mean
uh,
2/3 a god?
you're right, 2/3 a god. I
We
had to
we
stop
even
and go back.
we even commented on that in our reaction.
But because he doesn't like the gods, because of reasons, that nerfed his own divinity to B.
Well, I mean,
There's an entire epic to go over. We don't have that time today.
no. I was just saying you're saying he should pretty much have the highest divinity because he's 2/3 a god. I don't know if a pharaoh showed up as one of these summons. Isn't a pharaoh directly supposed to be a god?
Yeah, basically you always have divine right to rule, but like, Iskandar here, I'm gonna stop over to him real quick. One of the big things to do often was to claim that you were birthed by a god because it makes you more important suddenly.
Right.
Because
I mean,
any
the difference I'm saying is that you're saying like Hercules, right? Hercules was born of gods but was immortal. Alexander the Great, mortal. Uh,
mortal, but
Gilgamesh,
then claims to be birthed
yeah,
by a
yeah.
god,
You're
therefore.
claiming lineage. You're not claiming to be a god. I'm saying the
Mhm.
pharaohs claimed to be gods, though. That would make them 100% god. Wouldn't a would?
Also true.
I guess the indication here is that we never summon any Egyptians when we in our Grail battles.
Our mythology is already too complex. If we start summoning the Egyptians back in, we're gonna have to bring in the Yu-Gi-Oh cards too.
Well, they do love them. But I guess I was gonna consider for a moment maybe we only have Christians in the Grail battle because the Grail is Christian iconography. But then
We
Iskander
have
and
three
Gilgamesh.
Christian people.
That's literally what I was just saying, Griff.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't make sense why we would have any Egyptians. There
Mhm.
are a lot of figures in history that claim to be gods. Like the crazy cult guy could be considered a god because he said so, right?
Right, right. I I guess you can have it and lose it, but you can't just gain it by saying
Well,
it.
I also have to wonder, considering this is a world with magic, are the
Mhm.
gods real? Are the gods real and that he has 2/3 divine right because he actually was?
Those are questions I don't think we're getting answered in this series. I'm pretty confident of that.
I mean, a wish granting grail is real. Why
Mhm.
not the gods?
Yeah, what counts as a god is always the fun setting question in a lot of stories.
Well, the priesthood is running the grail wars, right?
Yeah, and they're
So,
worshiping like a very Christianity themed god here, right? It's
well, they'd
they
have
are
to
the
be.
church.
They have to be since they're the Christian, the Catholic Church.
Right. So is this all that real? Is this all contradictory? Are we using thought forms? What's going on here? Who's right? Who's wrong? Is there an answer? Do they talk about how they don't know the answer?
I mean, do they summon Muslim heroes from past?
The assassins would be exactly that.
Yeah. And why aren't they then in their own war for, like, what was the giant cube thing that they used to worship before Christianity came around? Literally, and,
You
God,
still go to Mecca to worship the cube.
the cube of knowledge or something. I can't remember what it's fucking called, but it's like,
I I forget what the cube is called too. It's been a minute, unfortunately.
yeah, but I mean, like, shouldn't there be like a holy war? This is starting to sound bad the more I talk.
Next comment then by Alex V9 saying, just discovering you. Happy that you reacted to the Fate series. We're pretty happy too.
As long
Here
as
are
we
some
understand it.
Here are some clarifications in case they haven't been provided. No spoilers. The kiss scene between Kiritsugi and Maya in the hotel has context in the novel, not explained in the anime. Israel, Kiritsugi's wife, is an important part of the ritual known as the Holy Grail War. As it was already revealed in the previous episode, she is a homunculus of the Einsberg, one of the three great families. When it arrives, it is time to end the war. She will die, and her body will be the foundation of the materialization of the Grail. That is why in episode 1 she comments that Kiritsugi is going to kill her, expecting him to win, leading to her death. Taking the situation into account, she's made preparations for her departure. Israel asks Maya to be Kiritsugi's new partner, since they have been working together for years and she's developed feelings for him, so that he will not be alone when everything is over.
So she's a cuck.
Never say the word again, but
Oh, I mean, really.
more realistically, they have a touching relationship. She realizes she's going to die and goes, "You're still a person. You still deserve to be happy. Be happy with someone else." Okay, I can completely buy that.
Well,
That
it's
makes
more so
perfect
I was
sense.
saying that because she's realizing this while she's alive and that she has feelings for her husband. The other woman has feelings for her husband while she's
Mhm.
alive and recognizes it and is willing to watch it happen. That's why I called her a cuck. I guess my more serious point here is, does she have the bloodline of Jesus? Remember that there was the
I
conversation before: is the Holy Grail an item or is it a bloodline? And is her bloodline just a name changed? Like, I don't know what you do with Jesus of Nazareth is a name. Like, is of Nazareth his last name? Is of Nazareth eventually change into whatever her last name is, the German
Well, you'd
sounding
have to
thing?
be from there to be of there, right? So no, that name gets dropped.
Well, no, it's like Leonardo da Vinci. Da means of, and Vinci is a place. It's
Yeah, it's
Leonardo
Venice.
of Vinci. No, that's what I'm saying. You're saying no. Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci is where he's from. Of
Mhm.
Nazareth is just saying da Nazareth in the same way.
Anyway,
What do you mean
let's go ahead and
anyway?
go to the
That was
next one.
really a fucking valid point, Griff. You always anyway when you're wrong.
I'm sorry, I just don't have a way to address it. We moved too far.
My point, you didn't even address the fact, is she Jesus' bloodline? You wanted to
Yeah,
anyway
we
your way
just went
past
too
it.
far from that. It's like I was about to go on like about surnames and ancient history and the history of naming yourself and stuff like that. It's like, wait a sec, we're getting off topic.
Right, well, that has nothing to do with is she Jesus' bloodline, which was the base of the question.
I think so. To answer the actual question, not the rant, then I feel like maybe we're aiming in that direction, right?
Well, I mean,
We're looking that way.
it would double down on both metaphors.
Mhm.
Is the Holy Grail a bloodline? Yes. Is it an item? Yes. We've just put two things together. The bloodline creates the item.
Part two, though. The stats of the servants are not an absolute truth, specifically that the noble phantasms, these are useful in the video games, but they change it a little for the anime. What are your
Oh,
thoughts on that?
well, that a video game is dependent on skill. No skill means that it doesn't matter what the letters say. Look, I have the best defense. Yeah, but you're shit at a controller.
Right. I think at least for like viewing just a story with these stats, or for any story that gives stats, they are an implication of ability. They are obviously not the end all be all. The famous example is, of course, DBZ and the Scouters, right? Everyone gets statted up immediately, canonically, in universe, and they're wrong.
Well, I guess to be fair, they became wrong. Early on, they exist as truth, but then they become ridiculous, and that's when they intentionally make them wrong.
hmm Number 3, the reasons for not using the maximum of your abilities are several. As you mentioned, there's the surprise factor, also due to the secret identity, which can reveal your weakness. There is also the case of energy/mana, because using a skill, depending on the quality, it can quickly wear down the master's mana. Additionally, the danger of the attack range depends on the type of weapon/skill. When using it can range from anti-unit like Lancer Spears to anti-army/fortress, equivalent to a missile explosion. I think the thing I want to hang on is uses the master's mana. So these summons are not just merely the people fighting each other. The power of whoever summoned them is involved in this.
I don't know. I think that might be not a typo, just a misnomer. I don't
Hmm.
think they're drawing mana from the person who summoned them. I think they have their own. I think it. I think that's. I don't know. It doesn't feel right, and I don't think I'm going to enter that in to the mind palace until we
Hmm.
see that in the show. That like somebody does a super powerful move, and the guy telling them what to do, their Pokemon master, if you will, like
Collapses.
yeah, it does something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I feel like they have their own sets of mana, and maybe that meant to say user's mana or something like that.
Part 4. Waivers between 19 and 20 years old. He's a college student.
Yeah, he's half your age.
Don't make me cry, Theta. I'll do it. I'll do it live. 5. Command spells are extremely valuable as they not only bind the servant to the master and the world, but also, used widely, can be, to some extent, bend the laws of physics and magic.
I will also say that if you're using magic, you're already bending the laws of physics.
I I don't want to spoil Code Geass, but there's some of that in there too, and I'm like, I see where this can go. I see what we could do with it. This could be fun.
Well, hopefully, it is. We're watching a show, so we want the show to be fun.
Number 6, a curious detail. If you notice, when Gilgamesh becomes a spirit and vice versa, his shine is golden while the others are bluish. These characteristics are only possessed by the gods and no other mortal servant, not even another demigod. This is because Gilgamesh, despite being the son of a goddess and immortal, he is two-thirds god.
Which mathematically makes little sense.
Right. It it's still the silliest thing about Gilgamesh in general, but canonically, it's true. So yeah, he's the closest god we got in the series right now. Literally, actually, there on screen, interacting with people, telling the others that he's a god. Number 7. The endings are scenes from the past and moments of the servant's life. Saber's scene is the Battle of Kamlan, where she had her last confrontation with her son Mordred, the Knight of Treason, where she pierced him with a spear, and a little later she died due to battle wounds. I need to catch up on my Arthurian legends more, but at least Mordred is definitely a recognizable name, right, Theta?
I'm really trying to remember. I think it's got what's her name? The evil witch lady.
Morgan Le Fay.
Morgan Le Fay tricks King Arthur and I think steals something from him, and that's what Mordred is created from. It's either that or it's shape shifting.
Right, right.
A lot of shape shifting happens in Arthurian legend too, but I'm pretty sure
Um,
it's something stolen from King Arthur, and that's what the trap lies that Mordred is his son, or or he shape shifts into his wife. She, not he, she. So I'm already really thrown off by
mhm.
the fact that King Arthur is a girl, or a woman rather, in this. So I'm trying to get my text right when I'm referring to Arthurian legend. But my remembrance is something like that. Morgan Le Fay tricks him, and that's why Morgan Le Fay is also the one that raises Mordred.
Right, right.
Or rather, Morgan Le Fay's aide? I don't know what you call him, the shape shifting weirdo guy. Uh, raises Mordred, and Morgan
If
Le
you're
Fay acts as the mother.
if you're zooming in on the Arthurian legends, you're like, yes, this is cool. But if you like zoom out a little bit, you're like, oh, this is a succession crisis. That's literally just all it is.
Well, I guess it's also the basis of the Horus Rebellion.
Mhm. Number 8. Berserkers are not erratic by nature, it's just that the class in question has the option of madness enhancement during the invocation, which deprives the hero's mind of reasoning and increases physical abilities to the maximum, but can be counterproductive because if the master is not strong enough as a mage, he will receive damage from his own servant.
Dude's getting eaten by worms. I don't think he fucking cares. He's a
I feel like
painful
that's
life
half the
day.
point of having the worms.
I think the point of having the worms is to instill obedience into the person who's getting eaten by worms. Remember, the guy who made him get eaten by worms and had the girl get eaten by worms too isn't a great person.
But like the worms are like canon to that family. They increase magical ability, and they even have special abilities based around it, right?
I
But the point of
frankly,
these insects is to take that damage, I think.
I frankly don't remember anything about the worms being helpful. I
But
believe
the
they
things,
only
frankly,
cause
I find
pain.
disgusting.
I believe they only exist to cause pain and obedience. I do not remember anything being said about the worms being helpful in any way.
Hmm. But that is all for our comments right there. Theta, let's go ahead and see what happened last time, real quick. Last time was A Wicked Beast's Roar. Ryder introduces himself to Saber and Lancer, asking them to join his army, but they both decline the offer. Kyanith reveals himself as Lancer's master and mocks Waver, but Ryder defends him. Soon after, Archer joins the battle against Berserker, carrying a servant, who uses a noble phantasm called For Someone's Glory, a black fog that envelops him and prevents all attempts at gauging his strength. Archer attacks Berserker with his noble phantasm called Gate of Babylon, transforming his sword into a key to unlock a special vault containing a vast number of weapons, but Berserker keeps evading and using Archer's weapons against him. To prevent Archer from exposing his noble phantasm further, Tokumi expends a command seal to order him to withdraw from the battle, much to Archer's displeasure. Upon seeing Saber, Berserker attacks her, revealing his second noble phantasm called Knight of Owner, the ability to turn anything he wields into a noble phantasm. Lancer defends Saber out of chivalry, but Kynith uses a command seal to force him to assist Berserker and kill Saber. However, Ryder intervenes and incapacitates Berserker, who retreats and warns Kynith to withdraw, or else he will side with Saber and defeat Lancer. After Kyanith and the grateful Lancer retreat, Ryder tells Saber he will not fight her or Lancer until their duel is finished. Elsewhere, Castor watches the battle through a crystal ball and thinks Saber is his long-lost love, while Kirei discovers that the church was being spied on by a familiar.
I don't remember the long lost love thing.
Hmm. Oh, wait, no, right. That was the very ending scene where Castor just being weird over his crystal ball goes,
Wait,
yeah,
is that
and starts
Lancelot?
being.
Oh, right, yeah. But no, what Lancelot was in there too. Lancelot's Berserker. That's right. No, sorry, I got thrown by you saying the one guy thought Saber was a long lost love, and I was
Mhm.
like, wait, what are the connections going on here? Lancelot's in the picture. No, Lancelot's Berserker. I just had to remember that Lancelot is the guy that was furiously trying to kill her a moment ago.
Right, right. But yeah, Castor is getting his own motivation to get involved in the fight for creepy reasons. So that was the final scene, if that I recall.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that because I'd focused completely on the almost Super Brawl that we had.
Hmm. We were so close, right? But I guess the fighting is kind of done for a moment. Everyone's retreating. They're gonna plan again, plot scheme, and we're gonna get the setup for whatever this next fight
Well,
is gonna
it's
be.
more that the fight that was happening was a microcosm of a lot of shit. Like the two knights on the field, right? Lancer
Uh-huh.
and Saber were displaying elements of pride in being knights and the honor of knights, like Lancer not wanting to double team Saber because the
Yeah.
honorable combat of a knight versus say I don't know what I'm looking for, the respect maybe of kings. Like
Uh-huh.
Saber was a king. Um, Ryder says I'm the king of conquerors, and they're like, "Fuck you, I'm a king." And Gilgamesh says, "What the fuck is a king to a god?" You know, that sort of thing. With so many elements of each one of the characters has something that overlaps with another character, and they all react to it the same way. The knights react with honor to other knights. The kings act with pride towards the other kings. That sort of
Right.
stuff.
Each of the summons here is their own person, their own personality, and they're coming to their own reasoning about how they view their fellow fighters, what they want out of them, what they expect, and whether or not they actually like or dislike them. It's fun little stuff, and it's all underpinned by the idea that they are going to be forced to fight each other one way or another.
Well, I was actually saying the opposite, that there's a Venn diagram that you could make of the
Yeah.
overlaps of each of the characters, how they react in the same ways based on the elements. Like, you could make a tabletop game out of this where you have one word descriptors and they say that you have to act this way. Actually, I think there is. I think that literally the game Pendragon works this way, which is literally
Aha.
based on Arthurian legend, that you have, like, that you're lustful or you're, what's the opposite of lustful?
Chast.
Yeah, chaste. That actually fits the Pendragon kind of universe. And you fall on the spectrum one way or the other. And if you fall hard on, like, the lustful spectrum, you're forced to act that way by die rolls. You lose control over your character, and that all of your character choices are basically this way. And that everyone that's a knight acts with honor in a certain way. Like, you could see how Lancer was pained when his master forced him to double team Saber, versus the kings were all prideful and indignant when one king said, "I have power over you because I'm a king."
And meanwhile, of course, we got Waver, who has to at some point say, I have power over you, Ryder, and he's gonna get tossed to the wind.
Doesn't seem like it. It seems like Waver
I
is going to
know.
learn life lessons
That's what he's so long for the ride for, right?
and eventually meet Bill Clinton.
David Clinton. Alright. So I think I am ready to go ahead and see what happens this week. So let's go ahead and get watching. But before we do, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all support the channel, just a little bit extra.
Click the link down below. Toss FTQ another thumbs up for letting us watch this show. Another thank you, if you will. It's Doctor
man.
Strange.
I didn't know we were going to watch Initial D today. It's
Well, they
all the
did.
funnier that it's Eisenberg doing it too.
I guess Saber wouldn't really know how crazy this is.
I really just want the Eurobeat to start playing.
I mean, the other thing is, somebody from Saber's era would think going 20 miles an hour would be insane. So, Caster and crew.
There's no way there's any other support crew out here. Oh, that smile. Oh, I hate him so much.
The smartass in me wants to point out that if you get out of the car and the doors that you're next to, you'll be getting out of opposite sides of the car, which means you can't stay close to one another. And it would be so awkward to crawl out the same door that you might as well have just been apart anyway.
Well, obviously what you have to do is, like, do the crawling. You gotta have the one person cross over first so that they stay on the other side, and then protect the one as they get out the other. That's the only way to do it. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what happened in the movie Airplanes.
Or crawl into the back seat so you can both get out the same side door at the same time. And God forbid that your car is under assault by somebody as you're trying to get this done, instead of the guy who's just standing in the middle of the road. Because despite the fact that he's the summon, Bluebeard,
Yeah.
his master's a fucking psychopath killer, so he could just be behind the car somewhere at this point, ready
You
to
just run up and stab people, yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's like
Casper's definitely the type.
he's the guy in the movie Predators that turns out to be the doctor who's like molesting people.
Oh God.
Well, you remember they're all mercenaries. Since why is this one doctor here? Oh, it turns out he's a social predator. Ah, DeLorean wings. Why not?
I just feel so bad watching headlights stay on.
Which one?
It's just instinct. I'm like, those headlights need to be off. You're wasting the battery.
No, I was being a smartass to his comment.
知るも何も聞こうとは初対面だ。人違いではないのか。
私です。ジルドレーにてございます。あなたの復活だけを祈願し、今一度巡り合う奇跡だけを待ち望み、こうして時の果てにまで果て参じてきたのですぞ。ジャンヌ。
ジャンヌ？私は貴殿の名を知らぬし。
I don't know which one you mean.
Joan of Arc.
That's my first thought, but he didn't say Joe.
貴公が自ら名乗りを上げた以上、私もまた騎士の霊にのっとって神命を告げよう。我が名はアルトリア、ウーサーペンドラゴンの着手たるブリテンの王だ。
Yeah, I'm not a woman pretending to be a man. I'm a man who's now currently a woman. I can see how that might be confusing.
He just gets crazier by the second.
This is boyfriend material, right?
Absolutely.
聖杯戦争はすでに決着している。何人と競い争うまでもなく、聖杯はこのジルを選んだのです。なぜならば、我が唯一の願望、聖書女ジャンヌ・ダルクの復活がここに果たされているのだから。
Yeah, wouldn't she literally be on the opposite side of that war from King Arthur? A French knight v an English one?
Look, France and England are complicated.
I just mean implicitly Joan of Arc would have been fighting the English.
それなりの荒領事が必要とあらば、次は相応の準備を整えてまいりましょう。誓いますぞ、ジャンヌ。必ずやあなたの魂を神の呪いから解放して差し上げましょう。
And he's gone.
会話の成立しない相手って疲れるわよね。次は言葉を交える前に切ります。ああいう手合いには虫唾が走る。
Good policy with him.
I really don't know what his power set is yet, so...
Quote-unquote magic, that's all we got.
Yeah, but you don't want him to turn out to be like that guy who you stab, he's fine, and then you get hurt.
Oh, we're gonna have Assassin versus Caster today. Maybe. Well, he's been busy.
Yeah, how the cops not found you? Don't answer that, Griff. You only have a smart-ass response.
未だジャンヌの魂を束縛したまま離さない。
ジャンヌってあの水晶玉で見てた彼女のこと？
我々は証明しなくてはならない。真意の失墜を、愛の虚しさを、いかなる非道も悪徳も決して神罰には値しないのだと。
うんうん、わかるよ。旦那のがよっぽどクールだ。
しからば。 我らはさらなる背徳を、さらなる冒涜を。
That's the solution.
I mean,
worse.
It makes sense.
そりゃつまり
In order to fight God, we need God to notice us, and what better way to make God notice us than to curse him as hard as possible?
まずは牢にいる11人から速やかに逃えとします。それからまた新しい子供たちを補充しましょう。
なんかもったいないな。
Guy's got like this is busy work on his face.
I feel like he's more of an artist than a killer, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a killer. I just mean, he's more about the art than he is the expression.
今宵はなぜセイバーを仕留められなかった。一度ならず二度までも。さらにこの私の令状を一つ削いだ上でもなおだ。セイバーとの競い合いはそんなにも楽しかったか。
そのようなこと。騎士の誇りにかけて必ずやあのセイバーの首を
See? Like I said, there's a Venn diagram here.
改めて誓われるまでもない。当然であろう。貴様は私に聖杯をもたらすと契約したのだ。それを今さらたかだかセイバー一人について必勝を誓うだと。一体何を履き違えている。
履き違えているのはあなたではなくてロード・エルメロイ。
New character, who this?
ランサーはよくやったわ。間違いはあなたの状況判断じゃなくて。
セイバーはとりわけ強力なサーバントだ。あの場で着実に倒せる好機を逃すわけにはいかない。
Yeah, remember, this guy also got somebody he didn't want. Because your boy stole the thing.
Someone incompatible,
そこまでセイ
even.
バーを危険視していたのなら、どうしてあなたセイバーのマスターを放っておいたの？ただ隠れて見てるだけで情けないったらありゃしない。
Although, to be fair, Ryder would have been incompatible too.
あなたは自分が他のマスターに対してどういうアドバンテージを持っているのか理解してないわけじゃないでしょ。本来の契約システムに独自のアレンジを加えたサーバントとマスターの変則契約。
Oh.
あなたがレイジを宿し、私がもう一人のマスターとして魔力の供給を。
Well, I guess that comment was right.
さすが高齢化随一の振動と歌われただけのことはある。
The masters act as the mana batteries.
だが序盤のうちは慎重に。
So he's got like double the charge, which is already pretty good.
Plus, he's a magic using master because he teaches at a fucking magic academy.
我が主への侮辱だ。騎士として見過ごせん。
いえ、そんなつもりじゃ。ごめんなさい。言い過ぎたわ。
Is she afraid of him?
I don't know. Feels like manipulation.
The relationships here are a little weird, but they're
Well,
fun.
wait. Do you mean the lord or the knight?
Both.
It feels like she might be afraid of upsetting the knight,
ああ、わかった。
but not the lord.
下の階で火事だ。
He just looks fucking
間違いな
tired.
く放火だろうな。
放火？よりによって今夜。
人払いの計らいだよ。
じゃあ襲撃。
Oh boy.
No, I just didn't want to pay the
セイバーの
bill.
マスターは可能な限り早急に槍の呪いを解消したいところだろう。
Gonna go down and complain to the manager. Get a
下の
refund.
階に降りて迎え撃て。無限に追い払ったりはするなよ。
承知しました。
ご客人にはケイネス・エルメロイの魔術工房をとっくり堪能してもらおうではないか。フロア一つ借り切っての完璧な工房だ。結界24層。魔力ロス
I was about to say, I don't know what an atelier is.
He's turned the entire hotel into a death trap.
Aren't we supposed to be planning this episode? What happened
No,
to
we're
the
going straight
plans?
to fighting.
Literally nobody's planned.
I guess this guy planned this out.
ええ、期待してるわよ。
I guess if you could Xanatos Gambit your way through the entire show.
ケイネス・エルメロイ・アーチボルト様、いらっしゃいませんか？
はい。私です。ご心配なく。ケイネス・エルメロイ・アーチボルトは妻のソラウトなど。
He already knows.
Well, yeah, he's a fucking mercenary.
そうですか。
He's going in without Saber too is the funny part.
全員避難しました。
よし。準備完了だ。そちらは。
異常なしです。いつでもどうぞ。
Hey, shouldn't you just be able to see them from the windows that they're standing so clearly next to in the scene that we just saw?
Hopefully.
All the cars explode? before the building does. Okay, it's a good way to do it.
That's one way to avoid all the traps, right? Mass terrorism. He is no joke.
So we didn't see them leave.
Specifically, they were staying there thinking they were well defended.
That'd be a hell of a thing, wouldn't it? We've developed Lancer as a character this whole time, and he's like, plans. Never see him again.
Yeah, building explodes, he's done for.
Oh, that's right, I have a kid.
Gunshots.
それにしても建物もろとも爆破するとは魔術師とは到底思えんな。いや、魔術師の裏をかくことに長けているということだ。
ことみキル。
ほう、君とは初対面のはずだが、それとも私を知るだけの理由があったのか。ならば君の素性にも予想。
For a second, I thought he was the other guy. He like jumped buildings or something.
No, he's just here to sabotage everything.
I guess he was watching the same thing.
どこにいる?
Tazi.
Oh yeah, human v human fights. Let's go.
なかなか悪くない動き。
Yeah, who wins? Mercenary or priest?
Priest mage assassin combo. This guy's alright, this guy's multi-class to hell, you know that?
Well, at lower levels, that should make him weaker.
あの女が投げたものではないか。
She did, didn't she? I'm pretty sure I saw her throw that.
I think he's implying there might be additional help.
あの女を助ける存在がいるというだけで、今夜のところは収穫だ。
Are you implying that the other guy got up here this quick?
表ではみだりに姿を晒すなと言っておいたはずだが。
恐れながら早急にお耳に入れておかなければならぬ儀がございましたゆえ、ついにキャスターを補足いたしました。
Everyone's getting shuffled.
Yeah, he's doing some creepy shit on the side of the road.
宮山町から隣町を股にかけ、就寝中の児童を次から次へ、夜明けまでに15人を誘拐。おそらく今、世間を騒がせて。
Seriously, how can you do it in bulk like that and not be found out?
I guess they did it within a day, so there hasn't been much investigation yet. And Elliot's caster, he's not gonna die for it or anything.
The human guy, though. The human guy's doing it too.
それを律することもないマスターか。一体どうしてそんな連中が聖杯戦争に。
これは放任できんでしょう、時臣君。キャスターたちの行動は明らかにルールを逸脱してあまりある。
無論です。私は魔術の秘匿に責任を負う者として断じている。
Oh yeah, serial killer guy has no
キャ
idea.
スターとそのマスターは排除するしか他にあるまいな。問題は、サーバントにはサーバントを持ってこうするしか手段はありません。さりとて、私のアサシンを差し向けるわけにもいきますまい。若干のルール変更は私の権限のうちです。すべてのマスターをキャスター討伐に同意しました。
Yeah, I guess the thing is that Caster and his master aren't following any rules. So you're the only ones that are limited.
数こそ少ないが、時臣の部屋よりも一品が揃っている。けしからん弟子もいたものだ。
一体何の用だ。
退屈を持て余している者が、俺の他にもいる様子だったのでな。
Enough spare time to lounge on the
でなけ
couch.
れば教会の保護を受けているマスターの身分で勝手に出歩いたりするまい。
何のことだ。今さら契約は不服になったのか。キルガメッシュ。
This late in the game just barely started.
好みを移しように保っている。そして何よりも進化の霊を取る者に応えてやらんわけにもいくまい。 だがあそこまで退屈な男とは思わなんだ。
Oh yeah, he's part of the mega ploy, so like he's just bored. Fair.
つくづくつまらん企てがあったものだな。
Well, of course, he feels like he's the strongest gun, and he's being held back.
部外者がとやかく言えるものではない。根源へと至る道のりとは、いわば世界の外側への逸脱だ。
They want to break the fourth wall, look
内側へ
out.
の興味しか持たない我々には、つまらない企てとしか理解できない。
なるほど。
Conversation I feel like I'd be
確かに
hearing
俺
from
は
Dot
我
Hack
が見
Sign.
渡るこの宇宙をめでるだけで満たされている。俺の支配の及ばぬ領域になど興味はない。根源とやらには何の関心もわかぬ。
しかし聖杯は根源を求めるためだけに特化した装置ではない。万能であるということは、世界の内側をも変革しうる可能性を無限に秘めているということだ。
他のマスターどもは時読みとはまた違った動機で聖杯を求めているというわけか。
時読み氏は魔術師の典型で。
Remember, right now, I don't understand what they're talking about. This is a...
Oh no, he's ultra right weak, look out.
I just mean, this is like deep dive moment that I'm gonna have to figure out what it means after the fact.
結構ではないか。どれも俺がめでる。
Oh, he's
I'm
I think he's looking
tracking
for the
pretty
One
well.
Piece. I just heard the One Piece slogan.
そういうお前はどうなのだ。
I think the key thing I'm interested in is Gilgamesh's motives and what he's gonna do now. Is he gonna do a betrayal?
I don't think he can. He's got a contract, remember?
This is the sparkliest pants ever, by the way.
それはあるまい。聖杯はそれを手にするに足るもののみを招き寄せるのではなかったか。
そのはずだが私にもわからない。理想も悲願もない私がなぜこの戦いに選ばれたのか。
理想もなく悲願もない。ならば優越を望めばいいだ
Oh
け
god,
で
I
は
wish I could remember more of his backstory from episode 1. When he
He's
was
a
like...
Christian. He doesn't want pleasure.
He was the first character we met in episode 1.
Yup.
Like, 20 years before the Grail War started. Sorry, second character. He was the second character. We met Saber's master first.
だが人は善行によっても喜びを得る。優越そのものが悪であるなどと断じるのは一体どういう理屈だ。
優越もまた私のうちにはない。求めてはいるが見つからない。
ことみね、きれい。がぜんお前に興味が湧いてきた。
どういう意味だ。
言葉通りだが、まあ座れ。
These two are actually the most contradictory characters, aren't they? The one man who has everything and wants it all, and the man who has nothing and wants nothing at all.
So you're saying they're more contradictory than Waver and Ryder?
Yes.
I don't think so. Those two people are very contradictory too.
優越を持ち合わせんなどと抜かすのは要するにそういうことだ。
サーバント風情が私に説法する気か。
生きがるなよ雑種。この世の税と快楽を貪り尽くした王の言葉だぞ。まあ黙って。
It'd be weird to be a priest and have your servant be a guy who thinks he's 2/3 God.
娯楽というものを知るべきだ。まずは外に目を向けろ。そうだな。手始めに俺の娯楽に付き合うところから始めてはどうだ。
私には遊興に費やす時間などない。
You sure don't look that busy, man.
時読みに課された仕事の片手間にできることだ。そもそも綺麗。お前は他の5人の
Well, I know, Griff, you've never really fully understood the fact that talking doesn't mean you're not busy.
連中の意図や戦略だけでなく、その動機についても調べ上げるのだ。そして俺に語り聞かせろ。
And he's trying his best not to look at Gilgamesh.
だがアーチャー、そんなことを聞いてどうするというのだ。
言ったであろう。
He wants to be the kingmaker.
中に面白みのあるやつが一人か二人混じっているだろうさ。少なくとも時読みに比べればな。
Oh, I just love the sass he's given back to his controller here.
それなりに時間はかかる。
構わぬ。気長に待つとする。ここの酒の面倒でも見ながらな。
He'll be back for more.
聖杯を求める理由などと我ながら随分饒舌に。
That's not his master, right?
No.
Well, that's what you just said. The sass is given back to his master.
Right, to the archmage that's so boring that he left to go talk to someone else. To this guy.
That's why I was really confused for a minute. I'm like, that's not his master. What are you talking about? What, already? What?
But yes, no, I wanted more. Come back.
Well, I mean, we didn't get our boys. That's the thing. Neither of us were in this episode. We didn't even appear anywhere.
They're just hanging out somewhere, I guess. They went for lunch. I don't know. Gosh, good, interesting character moments out of the characters that we kind of don't have the most motivation for yet.
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to go back over the scene with Gilgamesh when I'm doing the editing.
I'm gonna say it definitely has the sound of being deep, but it's pretty straightforward. It is very understandable.
Well, no, I mean about the root and the inner world and the outer world thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seemed like it had more meaning. Like they were describing what the Grail is and how it interacts with something, and it was like I lost it from the beginning, and if you lose it from the beginning, I'm never gonna pick it back up in the episode that we're in.
Yeah, that's ultimately fair. Give it a rewatch, see what you think there. But really, it just comes down to Gilgamesh wants some fun, he's bored, and wouldn't you know it, the guy with the least visible emotions is the person he goes to.
Well, I mean, that's the second half of the conversation. I think I understood normal human motivations. I didn't follow the metaphysical conversation. We were staring into a glass.
今ならばまだ
セイバーの支給は我が槍の功
貴様と聖杯を競おうとは
They're alive.
思わない。
思い上がるなよこのヒップメが
Lancer was talking again, so they survived the explosion.
I feel like that's a given. It was the coolest plan. It was the most sensible thing to do, and it showed how far Kiritsugi is willing to go and his abilities. But obviously, that can't be the killing blow. Otherwise, it would not be quite as exciting, right?
I mean, it would lay out a thing for the show that would be exciting. The fact that anybody could die at any time. But I guess also when one guy's like a master mage or magi, whatever, and we know teleportation exists because we just saw Caster do it.
Doing it for fun.
It means that they could have escaped, I guess.
I mean, there's plenty of different mechanisms I'm sure they could use. And we'll just have to figure out which one is his favorite next time. But I guess, no, that would be a fair question. Do you think it is literally just he teleported out of the building?
It seems like the Occam's razor answer to the situation. We've seen teleportation exists. What's the easiest way to explain how they got away?
If there was some sort of mega jump, like Lancer picks everyone up or anything, maybe there would have been like a smoke trail or something. But I guess that's not it.
Well, I mean, we watched it from a distance, so it's entirely possible they could have jumped from the building from the other direction that we saw our point of view was from, or he could have used one of his commands, Lancer, get us out of here, something. But he has a limited number. I mean, that would mean he'd only have one left, right?
I don't think that's one he'd have to give an order for. I feel like that's one that just comes implicit and they do anyway, right?
No,
you use the commands to tell them to do objectionable things.
No, you only use commands at all, right? He can ask Lancer to do shit, and Lancer will be like, "Yeah, okay," or he can command Lancer, which is a use of a spell, and you only have three of those.
Two. He has two now.
I'm saying you only have three of those, as in total.
Yeah.
I understand that he only has two. That's why I said if he said that, he'd only have one left. That was me indicating that I understood the math of the situation.
Still, I find their little relationship interesting. They were put as our antagonists for Waver before, and now we're getting a better idea of how they interact or what they think. Because before that, we really just had him as just scary teacher. That's it.
Well, each part of the combination exists independently. So
Mhm.
he exists as an antithesis to Waver,
Mhm.
upstart kid versus old teacher. But then
Yeah.
you have Lancer, who is standing opposed to Saber. So each half of the combo exists to work against somebody else.
I want to say, I feel like maybe we might get two sides of the conflict that come together, right? We already have one side which was a conspiracy from the beginning to do exactly that. So there's one side already in play. But meanwhile, we have things like Saber and Iskander who seem like they would basically get along to some degree. We were talking about that at the beginning of
It's
the episode with
weird.
the overlap, right?
You're doing the weird 86 thing, right? Where you use
Yeah.
one of their code names and use another one of their real names. So it would have been King Arthur and Iskander, or it would have been Saber and Ryder. But you said Saber and Iskander, which
It,
takes just a moment longer to register what you're saying.
my entire plan is just to baffle you, so
Well, obviously you didn't, because I just described who we were talking about. I'm just saying
right.
that maybe we should fall into a pattern.
But I think the overlapping qualities you mentioned are a good case for maybe a group forming together around a desired set of goals and people agreeing, yeah, you'll get your wish and that's the best wish we could all make.
Well, I doubt that's going to happen. But also, the Venn
Also
diagram doesn't follow over everybody. Assassin doesn't diagram over with Knight or Honor or anybody for that matter. Same
Yeah.
as Caster. Caster doesn't Venn diagram with anybody else.
Oh yeah, Caster's just like a wrench in the works. I don't think he's gonna join anyone without like a very convincing reason here.
Well, I'm not talking about joining. I just mean about similar traits, like one-word descriptors. Again, like honor or pride and things like that, or knighthood versus kingdom. They just don't have any of those qualities that match with anybody else because they're so to an extreme of their own type.
So I guess next time we'll get to see Caster going on a mass murder spree.
We already did.
Another
He
one.
already had a thing full of kids, and he just abducted 15 more. Which is why I'm saying it's surprising that nobody's catching on.
Well, I guess that comes down to the question of if a wizard started appearing and doing crimes, would you be able to identify he's a wizard and stop him?
My point.
This is like the Death Note problem, right? Would you ever figure out that it exists?
Well, my point was mostly that I don't know that it's the caster doing it, or it is caster doing it. That it seems like the kid is up to a bunch of shit too, and I figure he's leaving a trail behind. Also, yes, I think the amount of heart attacks happening worldwide would have to be picked up upon at some point.
In specific locations to a specific class of people that do not have any relation to each other beyond their designation by society. Yes.
Yes, I do think so, because that's it gets tracked. People would recognize that heart disease is rising at a staggering rate. Also, the fact that whoever has the book tends to get a little god hungry, right? They kind of start writing down a lot of names they don't care about because they feel powerful.
So I guess next time we're going to have L, Columbo, and Sherlock Holmes get together to solve the mystery of where is Caster.
El Colombo is my favorite Mexican detective.
But we'll go ahead and catch you next time, everybody. Griffin, that's Theta. We'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?